One line of Julia just squared 5 numbers. No loop, no index, no accumulator. We passed the behavior itself, x squared, straight into map, and map applied it to every element, yielding 1, 4, 9, 16, 25. Functions that accept other functions are called higher order functions. The nameless inline ones are anonymous functions. Together they turn loops into one-line transformations, and they shape how the entire Julia ecosystem is written. That promise is what this video delivers. Master both from the ground up. Before anonymous functions make sense, we need one shift in mindset. In Julia, functions are values, first-class citizens, exactly like numbers and strings. That means you can store a function in a variable, hand it to another function as an argument, and even receive a function back as a result. It feels strange at first, so let's slow down and look closely. Watch, this line binds the name f to the anonymous function x plus 1. F is not the result of calling the function. It is the function itself. Call it f of 3 is 4. And because f is just a value, we can pass it around. Here map takes f as its first argument, a list of numbers as its second, and applies f to each one, 11, 21, 31. The same idea works with built-ins. Length is a function, so map with length over a list of words gives each word's length, 5, 9, 9. No special syntax, no wrapper objects. A function is simply a value that knows how to compute. And this is not a special case reserved for map. Any function you write can accept a function and call it whenever it needs it. Keep that image because everything else in this video builds on it. Most of the time a function has a name because it will be reused. But sometimes you need behavior exactly once. Writing a full name definition for that is ceremony. You do not need. Julia lets you write a function with no name at all, an anonymous function. The syntax is the arrow. Arguments on the left, body on the right. X arrow x squared is a function that squares its input. You can call it immediately by wrapping it in parentheses. Pass 5, get 25. Build them with any number of arguments. 2 arguments, x and y returning their sum. Apply to 2 and 3, 5, 0 arguments. An empty pair of parentheses returning a constant, still a real function. Call it, and it answers 42. When the body grows long, use the do block form. Map over 1 to 5. Do n times n end. Same result, friendlier layout. And notice something important. An anonymous function is not a special kind of object. Ask Julia for its type, and it reports a compiler-generated name. Julia invents one on the spot. Anonymous only means unnamed by you. And if you do give one a name, it behaves exactly like a named function because it is one. Now we put these to work. The 2 most common higher-order functions in Julia are map and filter. Map applies a function to every element of a collection and collects the results. Filter keeps exactly the elements that satisfy a predicate, a function that returns true or false. Here is a filter that keeps the odd numbers from 1 to 10. Isodd is itself a predicate, and filter returns 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. When you need a custom rule, pass an anonymous function. Keep every number divisible by 3, x arrow x modulo 3 equals 0. Filter walks the collection, asks the function about each element, and keeps only the answers that come back true. Watch 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. And here is a subtle bonus, operators are functions too. The plus sign is a function of 2 arguments, so map with plus combines 2 arrays element by element, 11, 22, 33. Notice what we did not write. No for loop, no if inside a loop, no mutable list being appended. The collection logic is completely separate from the element logic. You do not need a library to work with higher order functions. You can write them yourself and they are startlingly simple. Here is a function called apply twice. Its first argument is a function f, its second is a value x. The body calls f twice, f of x. Watch it run. We apply the anonymous function x plus 1 to the number 10. Twice 10 becomes 11 and 11 becomes 12. Our function never needs to know what f does. It only needs to know that f can be called. That is the contract. And higher order functions can return functions too. Here is compose. It takes 2 functions, f and g, and returns a new anonymous function that applies g first, then f, build a pipeline from abs and double, take the absolute value, then double it, feed it -4, and the composed function returns 8 functions that build functions. When a language lets you treat functions as data, the boundary between code and data blurs, and that is exactly where composition becomes possible. This is how you grow a language from small, well-defined pieces that snap together. The pipe operator makes compositions like these these read naturally, left to right. In Julia, the pipe is a vertical bar followed by a greater than sign. It takes the value on its left and inserts it as the first argument of the function on its right. A chain of pipes is a pipeline. The output of each stage becomes the input of the next. Here is the classic example. Take the numbers 1 to 100. Filter the odd ones, then sum them. As a pipeline, it reads in order. Start with 1 to 100, filter IZOD, then sum. The result is 2500, the sum of the first 50 odd numbers and completely deterministic. You can even pipe through an anonymous function. This line broadcasts IZOD across the range, then sums the resulting true values, a count of how many odd numbers lie between 1 and 100, 50. Pipelines are where anonymous functions earn their keep. The whole transformation sits in one place, reads top to bottom, and leaves no scratch variables behind. Here is the part that surprises most newcomers. An anonymous function can see the world around it. Define a variable factor equal to 2. Now define an anonymous function that multiplies its input by factor. The function has captured factor. It closes over its environment. Call it with 21 and it returns 42, even though factor was never an argument. That pairing of code and captured context is called a closure. Think of it as the function carrying a backpack of remembered values. The arguments you gave it at creation time stay with it wherever it goes. Closures make it trivial to build customized functions on demand. Here is a function that returns a function. Adder, taking a constant c, returns x arrow x plus c. Call adder with 5 and you get a brand new function. Add 5, then add 5 of 10 is 15. Each call to adder manufactures a different function and each one remembers its own constant. This is the functional answer to configuration. Instead of threading parameters through every call, you bake them in once. Upfront time to see this in a realistic situation. Suppose you are ranking a leaderboard, a list of pairs, name and score. You want the highest scores first. Sorting the list directly would compare names, which is not what you want. Instead, hand sort a keyword argument by a function that extracts the sort key from each element. The anonymous function x arrow x2 reaches into each pair and pulls out the score. Now sort orders by score and with reverse set to true. The best is first. Alan with 95, Ada with 92, Linus with 88, Grace with 87. We rank the leaderboard without writing a single loop and without modifying the data. Sorting, grouping, reducing, every one of these is a higher order function waiting for a small piece of behavior. This is why the functional style scales. The data pipeline is explicit. The per element logic is a tiny anonymous function and the whole thing is one readable expression. Let's pull it together. Functions are values, so they can be stored, passed, and returned. Anonymous functions let you write small, one-off behavior in line, x arrow, x squared. Higher order functions like map, filter, and sort consume those functions and do the heavy lifting. Closures capture context, so you can build customized functions on the fly, and pipes let the whole pipeline read in one direction. The next time you reach for a loop, ask instead what is the behavior and which higher order function should I hand it to. That question, turning loops into transformations, is the heart of writing idiomatic Julia. It is a small idea with outsized consequences.